Today I have a really special treat for you, and that's Soeren, the CEO of NamesCon, will be joining me, so don't go away. As I said in my intro, I'm so excited to be talking with Soeren, the CEO of NamesCon. With NamesCon 2021 online, only a couple of weeks away, it's going to be absolutely fantastic to be able to hear from him. And so without further ado, I'd like to welcome Soeren. Soeren, it's great to see you.
Same, Michael. Good afternoon to you. I mean, at least virtually we see each other.
Exactly. It really is great to hear and see your smiling face. You know, every time I see you, you're always smiling.
What can I do? What can I do?
I remember the first time we got together, I think it was in Madrid at GDD, ICANN GDD in Madrid, and we just seemed to hit it off together and just talking about some great ideas about NamesCon and things like that. And it was a great time. And ever since then, I always loved being able to get together with you and just getting your perspective on things.
No, thanks a lot, and thanks for having me here today.
No, an absolute pleasure. Yeah, many people they know that you're associated with, obviously, with NamesCon, being the CEO, but they may not know much about who is this man behind all these conferences and everything like that. Now, a few things. I believe you're a guitarist. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's one of my hobbies and one of my biggest passions. That's true. Yeah.
That's good. So I got to ask the question: what sort of guitar do you play?
That's a good one. I mean, if I play electric guitar on stage, I usually use Gibson Les Paul. And if
a Les
I play
Paul
at home, yes.
Oh, yeah, very, very nice. So you went away from the Stratocasters and things like that.
Yeah. And I mean, if I play at home or jam with the kids or friends, then I have a couple of acoustic guitars as well.
Yeah, of course.
It's this one thing, this one idea I have, so I have to tell it in every podcast or interview I'm doing for the domain industry. At one point, I want to launch this domain industry band, same what I did for the cloud industry with Cloudfest.
Yeah.
We have lots of uptime, which are people from the industry jamming together.
Yeah.
And I want to do the same for the domain industry at one point. So I really have to put it on the table in each interview. So my idea or the project name for that is right now the Zone Files.
So I'm still looking. Yes. Oh, that's great.
I already registered the domain, but I don't have a band together yet. So everyone who's listening to that and who's passionate about music is thinking we need to do something for the next time we have a possibility to physically meet together again. This is my idea, the Zone Files. I'm very open to the kind of music we're playing. I just need to get the people together.
Oh, that's great. That is great. Oh, yeah, I must admit, I play the violin, and I played it a long time ago. I haven't picked up a violin for ages, but I have a real passion for music. I collect movie soundtracks. I like movie soundtracks and things like that. So I've been collecting those for many, many years. So I've got to ask, what's your favorite sort of music?
I mean, to play, I like just simply harder rock and roll, 70s, 80s, 90s.
Yeah. Oh, very good. So I got to ask you, you mentioned you have kids, and so how many kids do you have?
I do have 3 kids. I have a 15-year-old son. He lives in Switzerland. He also plays the violin, by the way. Pretty good.
Okay. Well, very good.
Yeah. He got a violin landed by the how is it called, the Royal Academy of Music in London.
Very nice.
Yeah, like actually it's similar like premium domains, like premium violins. They grow in value like 10-15% per year.
Oh, they do. They do grow in value. Yeah.
It's actually there's a lot of similarities to domains with premium violins. Yeah. So he's living in Switzerland. He plays violin. He's very good with that. And I have 2 little daughters living with me here in Barcelona.
Oh, fantastic. Isn't it wonderful having kids? Like, I must admit, having kids changed my life, particularly if you're taking to Disneyland or something like that. It's just great. And it is so good. And I'm looking forward to one day, like my kids are quite old now. My youngest is 22. So they're quite old, but despite that, you know what, when we get together as a family, it's like we're all kids and we all have a great time. It's really good. So you also mentioned that you have Laws of Uptime in one of the other conferences you run, which is Cloudfest. Now tell me a few things about Cloudfest.
Sure. Happy to do. If you look back at last year, which just ended, 2020, we did one physical conference, which was NamesCon in January in Austin, in the last week of January last year. That was the last physical conference we were able to organize before the world broke down. Cloudfest is our bigger conference, which is like 80% of our revenue as a company, or even more than that, was scheduled for end of March. And we already knew by like mid-February that we have to cancel it. So just coming back from Austin, we already understood, oh shit, it seems we have to cancel our big show in March.
Oh, wow. Wow.
And that was tough for us, you know, to make these decisions, make the risk assessment with our mother company. What do we do? Do we cancel it? Do we wait for an insurance or whatever? But with everything what was coming together, we came to the conclusion we have to cancel that. And that was 2 weeks before the official lockdowns came, you know, in early March.
Wow.
And we had to revert.
That's a tough call.
Hundreds, yes. Pay everyone back, you know, revert hundreds of or even thousands of contracts. That was a tough one. And so we as a team, we couldn't really even think about what was happening around us because we were so busy in cleaning the shit, basically, you know, in with the cancellation which was coming around. And so we didn't really have time to think about that too much. And we stood up quite quickly. And like the team and me, we sat down and saying, like, most likely it's going to be a longer impact. And if that is that case, we have to pivot our business because like our business case is gone, you know, there's no physical conferences in the short term. So what do we do? Okay, we have to learn that thing, how digital events work, you know, with everything, like what platforms to use, how to make it applicable for sponsors and partners, how to make it applicable for attendees and things like that. And so last year, we used basically as a trial and error year to learn digital conferences. So we did 2 things with Cloudfest and we did 1 thing with NamesCon Online. So all over as a group, you know, we tried 3 different concepts, you know, and with the idea behind that we don't need to make everything perfect in the first place. It's more like learning and get ready for this year, for 2021.
Yeah. So a lot of people don't realize just how big Cloudfest is. Like, so how many people attend Cloudfest?
It's between 7,000 and 8,000 people per year.
7,000 or 8,000 people.
Yeah. If it's a physical conference, and we do have attendees from over 90 countries visiting.
Wow. Yeah, that's the one where you take over a theme park, don't you?
Correct. Yeah. It's something like a Disneyland. You know, it's called Europa Park. It's the biggest theme park in Europe, and we rent the whole park, including all theme hotels and surrounding hotels for a complete week. So it's the Alcatraz of the cloud service provider industry. So and to explain like who's coming, it's like on one side the attendees are usually executives or product management teams from large hosting companies / cloud service providers. Let's say product managers of GoDaddy, of 1&1, and of all these like applicable players in the countries all over the world.
Yeah, so basically it's like the senior people from all the different hosting companies. So I know I looked at I was hoping to go to Cloudfest, I think it was last year.
I remember,
and I couldn't do it in the end, and for obvious reasons, because it's funny when we look at last year. My last time that I traveled was I did around the world, and I went through NamesCon, in Austin. Yeah, that was, I'd gone from Melbourne to Dubai, to Cologne, to London, to Washington, to Austin. Yeah.
Oh,
so,
interesting. I didn't know that. I don't remember that, let's say. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's that's the last time I travel. I was normally doing like I don't know, traveling every few months. From Australia, it's a long way. Any time you travel, and it's been a bit of a shock to me to not be traveling. And I must admit, when you ran NamesCon, let me say, NamesCon last year in Austin was an outstanding conference. It really was. It was there were a lot of people there, but the right people. Just to give you some feedback, and did a lot of business there, which is what you want to do at a conference. So there's a lot of business, but also the thing that I'm always impressed with the NamesCon team is they've really got their act together. Like your team knows what to do. You've got a great team.
Our credo is very, very simple. For these 3 days of a conference, like everyone who's there, who signed up for the conference, these are the most important people in the world for 3 days. And this is how we think as a team and how we organize the conference.
Yeah, because I must admit, as a speaker, because quite often I'm invited to speak, as a speaker, you're so looked after. And it's a pleasure to share, because I spend probably about a week preparing material before any time I speak, because I think it's a very big honor to be able to be speaking in front of your industry, and you want to make sure you add value to the attendees. And that's very important for me. But then when I get there, I find the team there just really looks after you, and everything just goes like clockwork and everything. And I'm sure there's things behind the scenes that I don't know about. But let me tell you, from an attendee and a speaker, it's an outstanding event.
Yeah. And you're a very good role model, but you said with your preparation, that you take preparation serious.
Yeah.
So you're a very, very good role model with that. And for us or for our team, obviously, it is easy and simple to work with someone like you, who's so well prepared and so proactive in putting yourself into the content and into the theme.
Yeah, I try to do that. And I must admit, just as an attendee, nothing annoys me more when you have a speaker or like a panelist, something like that, and everyone's just winging it. They're not preparing anything. They're just like, whatever. Yeah, they'll just get up there and they'll say a lot of politically correct things, then get off the platform. And I'm thinking, you added no value to the attendees. The attendees are after value and to be able to really come to grips with issues and things like that. And I think that's the most important thing. And last year at Austin, when I was asked to do one of the keynote addresses, I think it was on the first morning, and I was doing the industry past, present, and future. And it was, I must admit, that was tremendous topic, number one. But number two, it's one that I really, really enjoy doing. It was, because I've been in this industry so long, and to dig out real data and things like that, it was a great time. But NamesCon physical, I'm missing that it's not physical. I must admit, there's nothing like having a drink with someone in the bar, or having a coffee or something, or whatever, a meal. There's something very special about that, and I was really looking forward to NamesCon Europe last year, and in Budapest, and it had to get cancelled because of COVID, and then you guys launched this thing called NamesCon Online. I think it was in September. And I thought to myself, is this going to be any good? Yeah. So, and I
that's what we thought too.
Exactly. Is it going to be any good or not? And particularly the time zone for me here in Australia, I'm going from midnight to 5 a.m.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was do I really want to do this? And so, some members of my team and I, we did it, and it was exceptional. It really was exceptional. And I just want to congratulate.
Yeah,
it was. There's a few things I like. A few things I like from a speaker's perspective, to be delivering a talk and then seeing questions coming through was fantastic, because you could like respond at the same time as you could see the questions you're speaking, everything like that, and that was really special. The whole technology platform really hung together. There was a few little issues along the way, but they got sorted out. And then the networking area, the way the networking area was done with all the sort of tables, and you can sit down with someone, and you have this video conferencing. It was that. Sure, it's not the same as being together physically, but it was so good. It was really good.
There's no substitute for physically meeting someone and having like a real live interaction, obviously. But on the other side, with digital events, they also have some advantages. It's like if it comes to analytics and stuff like that, it gives much more value to our partners than any physical event where we can't track it that simply. How many people are in the sessions? How long do they stay? Do they listen to it? And so on. Obvious analytics is something you don't have at a physical event.
Yeah.
And like working with these analytics also helps us to make this digital event obviously better over time.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I must admit, I had in my session, one of my team came there, and he kept track of like how many people were in the session and things like that. And there was a lot of people, and it really there was something really special about NamesCon Online. It really was. It was so much better than I thought it was going to be, because I came in with like, you go along, you register. It's pretty cheap to register. And I'm thinking, well, what have I got to lose? It's almost like that attitude,
Yes.
But because I was speaking, I put the effort, obviously, in the speaking component. But I was thinking, will I stay? Because it's like till 5 a.m. for me. And in the end, I stayed the whole time.
Wow.
And I had so many great conversations with different people and everything. And I stayed the whole time. And it was an outstanding event. It really was. And and that really blew me away of how these platforms have evolved to become so good.
Yeah, but look, Michael, it's still very young and very early. Like all these like digital event platforms, they raised out of nowhere, like in March, April last year.
Yeah.
And it's a very new industry. So most of these platforms, like still in the year 2020, are very buggy and very early stage, but there's a lot of development power behind it. There's a lot of VCs and private equity who are now pumping money into these companies, who are building digital event platforms. And now in 2021, we will use the same platform now in January, which we already used in September. But you will see there's much better features inside. It's more flexible, there's more networking, and it will be more stable. So this development is accelerating, with these platforms right now. So now this year, we will see a much, much better quality already.
Yeah, I must admit, when your team, Helga, when your team there, she took me through it. And it was fantastic. Yeah, there were some of the features that were there back in September, but you could see it had really evolved. It's moving forward, and it's really, really exciting. So here I am. I've become, because it's funny, I should say one thing. Back in September, I felt like I had jet lag with that flying. Because I was like, I was so tired. I'm thinking, when is someone going to run a conference in Australian time zone? That'd be great. But I must admit, I'm looking forward to this year's January 2021 27th of January was it to the 29th of January. I'm looking forward to the conference so much. So much so that ParkLogic is one of the sponsors of the conference, and
very good, Michael. Thank you.
Which is great. Like, we're really looking forward to that, and I'm extremely bullish about it. I'm very excited about what's going to happen. And I noticed this time, like, I've had a sneak preview, obviously, agenda and stuff like that, and I noticed there's a keynote track, there's the breakout track, where people can go and attend different sessions and things like that, which is just awesome. Do you want to say anything about those? Anything about the keynotes and also the breakouts?
Okay, sure. That's something you already know, or everyone knows who already attended NamesCon Online last September. So we had the keynote track and a couple of breakout sessions as well. So we have a core time where those sessions are running, which is like 4 or 5 hours per day. You will find it on NamesCon.online, and you see the times in UTC there in the agenda. Yeah, UTC timing, and then this goes over 3 days, so 27, 28, 29 of January. So you have that core time. In addition to the core time, we do have, before the core time, we have the South Asia tracks, and after the core time, we have the Americas tracks. Organized.
I saw that, and they look really good. Like, was it the South Asia one? You've got a lot of really some topics there, some people from particularly the Indian subcontinent, from India and stuff, really, really spearheading that, and that looks exciting.
Yeah, it's an amazing community, the domainer community in India. I just chimed in like 2 weekends ago on a Sunday. I chimed into, or 3 weekends ago, into the Indian domainer meetup. There's like 80 people there, or 90 people on a Sunday, talking about domains.
Great.
Including our friends like Aishwin or Deepak, like everyone is there, It's an amazing community. There's a lot of newcomers who are very eager to learn, and obviously the content which our friends there are creating around Jay is extremely educational content. But also on the Americas, where we work together with Mike Seigers, with the N Academy, or this year we have some organized content from the DNA, from Christian Dawson and his team. So we try to provide this regional content around the core time, basically.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay. And in addition to that, in addition to these keynotes and breakout sessions, we have a third format coming in place this year: workshops and masterclasses.
I'm so glad you mentioned that.
But I think you also are running one of the workshops.
Yeah.
Maybe you want to explain on your example what you're doing, what workshops are.
I must admit, I'm so excited about that this time. I really am, because the masterclasses. We have I created masterclasslessons.com or MCL.com, and which is a masterclass for domainers to learn about traffic monetization and so forth. And so when you guys said you're having masterclasses, I'm so happy. And so we're doing that, yes. I spoke to Helga, and what we're going to do is we're actually breaking up. Initially, it was going to be a quite a long session, the one single long session. I said, Helga, that's a long time for people to be looking at. So we're going to break it up into one session a day, and we're tackling topics such as what is quality traffic, like really what it is and why is that important, and then I have Q&A and everything. I'm going to come to grips of that with case studies and all that sort of thing. We're looking at the importance of algorithmic switching, why is that so important for domain investors in the traffic space. And then the final one is, okay, you want to run a traffic test. How do you actually do that? You want to compare one company versus another and everything like that. So the thing I loved about the masterclasses is which is different to, say, some of the keynotes and the breakouts, is you could spend an extended period of time and really dig into a topic.
Exactly. It's a deep dive.
Yeah, it's a deep dive. And I must admit, I spoke to my business partner, and we were so excited about that you're having that. The Masterclasses, we're thinking, oh, this is just awesome. This is exactly what we're after. Because we see one of the roles that, for instance, Masterclass lessons, MCL.club, we give all the content away for nothing. And we see one of the roles of the conferences, and dare I say what we're doing there, is to try to help educate domain investors. That's what we want to do. And lo and behold, NamesCon comes along and says, guess what we've got? We've got these deep dive topics.
Perfect. I'm looking forward to your session. It will be interesting. And also, again, I'm looking forward to your feedback after that, how it's going.
Absolutely. And the other thing that I would like to say to you is, and also anyone who's watching this, is go to the Network Lounge. The Network Lounge is amazing. It really is. Like, you can just join someone's table and your video will appear, and you can be starting to interact with people you normally wouldn't do so. Like, if it was a physical conference, it's very unlikely would you just go sit yourself at a table with other people and just start talking to them. You just wouldn't do that. But with a virtual conference, it's very natural to do that.
The barrier is much lower to
it is fantastic. So and you can look at the different people and you can say, who would I really like to speak to? Oh, they're on that table. And you don't be rude or anything. You join the table. You don't be rude. You like introduce yourself like you normally would and that sort of stuff. And say, hey, I'd like to be able to talk with you about this particular topic or this particular idea and stuff. And people are very receptive.
Michael, what I found so interesting is, like, even though the sessions were finished already for hours, there were still people on the networking tables mingling with each other. Hours after the program was finished.
Yeah, it's funny you mention that, is that because at 5 a.m. I went to bed for about 6 hours to 11, and I wake up, and the first thing I do is I go online to the NamesCon, and I'd see people were in the networking lounge. I'm going, oh my gosh, they haven't left. It's like
a physical event, right? It's the same like a physical event, like at 5 p.m. where you see some still sitting in the lobby, right?
It was fantastic. It really was. And like I said, we made so many great contacts. It was really, really good. And there's people you don't normally connect with. And that's the thing I liked about it. And you can also reach out to people. And by the way, the app, awesome app. And so we had like I app on one screen, like fired up on my phone, that sort of stuff. I had the video on another screen, and we had multiple screens happening and all that sort of thing. And it was just it's a great event. Yeah, it really is. So I found the networking lounge was one of the best features of NamesCon in September, and I think it's going to be much better this year.
Yes. I think, like I said before, this platform is much more evolved by now compared to September with new features and so on. So I think it will be even a better experience. I think it will be experience, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing I noticed is about this year, like I know the agenda is sort of like changing that sort of stuff still, but there's some great speakers there.
Yes.
Like I'm thinking to myself, boy, like I want to attend a whole lot of these sessions and masterclass. I want to attend all these different sessions, and I want to be in the networking lounge. And in the end, I told a whole lot of the ParkLogic team, who are based in Melbourne, Australia, said, "You're not going to sleep for 3 days." I said, "You're coming to NamesCon." Yes.
The agenda is, I would say, 90% filled at the moment.
Yeah.
So if you go to our website, NamesCon.online, the agenda you see there is 90% ready. We are still working on 2-3 little surprises. Right?
Yeah. The other thing I thought I'd highlight to viewers who weren't aware of NamesCon, of how to get around the app and that sort of stuff, is go to the booths for the sponsors. Like,
Yes.
it's really good. Like, you could see everyone who's sponsored, and they got a booth and everything, and you can reach out to those people. You can begin to engage with them and everything, and it's so easy. It really is. And all the information is sitting there right for you. And let me tell you, the sponsors are looking for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really worked. I mean, I think, when we started talking to sponsors for last event, NamesCon Online, which we did very quick, in the setup last September.
Yeah.
Like, I think a lot of had same like you, they had no expectations or low expectations. And especially the partners who already joined us in September, they all repeated to join us in January now, plus some additional ones. Yeah. So even some which never sponsored before, and this is, I think, due to the fact that it really works, this concept, that these virtual booths and how partners are getting leads in and so on. This concept really works. That's why we are repeating.
Yeah. So the question I'm going to ask you is, when are you going to do it in VR?
Good one.
Because I got my Oculus headset just see on the wall over here. I can pull it off and put it on.
Actually, we do have an opinion about that.
Oh, seriously? I was joking.
No, we do have a very clear opinion about that. We made a decision again. There's always also these digital event tools which look like a VR event, where you enter a lobby, where you enter a session room, where you enter an exhibition room. And we made a decision against such kind of platform. So we said, no, we take rather something more static, because what the people want is they want to have a networking, they want to have a clear agenda, they want to access the rooms and so on. So make it more static and have a very, very good app with that. However, we're saying VR might become very interesting for social events. So what our idea is, if it comes to sessions and to partners and booths and stuff, we rather keep it static. But if it comes to social events in the future, we might add some VR features or try or have something more experimental, let's say.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that. Like, I actually attended a VR conference, and and not with my headset though. It was like one of those ones where you go, you move through it, and I found it was quite annoying.
It is totally annoying. I mean, it's fun for 10 minutes, and
it's fun for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And then it was annoying, and I didn't get annoyed with the NamesCon interface. I found the NamesCon interface, it was really streamlined and that sort of stuff, and I really like that.
Yeah, agree. That's completely our way of thinking. I mean, we like this VR stuff. We are looking into various things, and there's a lot of cool stuff what you can do. I mean, you could do something like Minecraft, which is open source. There's a lot of other stuff, So, but this is more for the social events, not for the hardcore.
Yeah, as long as I get to carry a little sword and shield and go and stab a few people, that's good.
The Australian warrior.
Exactly. Exactly right. So, is there anything else you want to say about NamesCon this year?
Sure. I mean, like you said, we have amazing sessions. Actually, for me, NamesCon is already starting in 2 days, because in 2 days, I'm pre-recording one of the keynotes already, Fireplace Chat, with a person who can't be on site on that day. And I mean, so God will, the thing is, here in Barcelona or in Spain, we have another lockdown since this weekend. But I have amazing domainers who live in a circle of 50 kilometers around me. And we hope that the lockdown is only for 10 days, so that we are able to be all together in my office, and I have a little TV studio now in my office, that we can all meet there and talk together. Let's see how that goes. But I mean, for me, NamesCon is starting in 2 days, so I'm totally excited. We have a bit of preparation, so I'm counting down the days now. 2 more weeks to go.
That's great. I must admit, I have a little video recording studio upstairs.
Yes, you
myself.
do.
Yeah, because I love doing it. I love playing around with the technology and that sort of stuff.
Do you have a green room or?
Yes, green.
Yes,
green screens
nice.
and everything. So,
Yeah.
and multiple cameras and video mixer and audio mixer and stuff. Yeah.
Nice.
So
okay. I mean, that's fun. Yeah, I have the same now in my office, and I'm thinking like how my life has changed,
Yeah.
Before that, I was traveling to events. Now I have a clean room in my office,
Yeah. And the events come to you.
Yes, exactly.
And that's one of the great things I think that we shouldn't underestimate about NamesCon, and is the fact that, NamesCon's coming to you. And you don't have the expense of a hotel, you don't have the expense of air travel and that sort of stuff. And I must admit, from a ParkLogic perspective, we would spend upwards at least $5,000 to $10,000 at least per person just to get there.
Right.
And accommodation, food, and all that sort of stuff. And because we're coming from the other side of the world all the time. Yeah. So it's the fact that I can just turn my computer on and then turn it off, have a bit of a sleep, and then wake up and it's on again. That's just fantastic.
Jet lag at home. Jet lag in your own bed.
Exactly. So can I just say, thank you very much for your time. I really do appreciate it. And I know this year's NamesCon is going to be awesome. I'm doing a whole heap of sessions I'm so excited about. I really am. And we got the Masterclasses happening. So if you're online right now and you're saying to yourself, should I go to NamesCon or not? You got to be crazy. If you're in this industry, this is the event. Go and attend it. Like, seriously, it's like the tickets. How much is a ticket nowadays?
Oh, good question.
It's like $100 or something like that.
Oh, it's like less. It's like $70
less than $100
or something. Yeah.
Like seriously, the place we can go to have the best experience in terms of getting educated. If you're new, if you're long established, you can go along and do those deals with other people at the event. There's so much opportunity for business. Like, seriously, just do it. That's all I got to say to anyone out there, that you just have to go ahead and attend NamesCon Online. And what we really all hope for is that Budapest, for NamesCon Europe, that it could be physical. We can only cross our fingers.
Yes,
so I really cross our fingers, because I'd love to go to Budapest. I'll tell you, it'd be great. But anyway, thank you very much for your time, and wish you all the best, and the whole of the team as well.
Yeah, thank you, Michael, and I see you in 2 weeks.
Yeah,
online again.
I look forward to it.
Yeah. Same, Michael. Thanks for having me today.
I hope you enjoyed that video and you find them really valuable for your business and helping you make better decisions. Don't forget to like, subscribe, or pass the video on to your friends. Anyway, thanks a lot for that. Have a great day. Bye.